in Maine. Why must I chase the cat?
Good evening and welcome to Posse Presents. With me tonight is friend, author, pit bull advocate, amazing woman, Sue Torres. Sue, welcome.
Thank you.
And Sue has brought tonight Mickey, who is pretty much your reason, I think, for being such a pit bull lover.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. He's my first and he will not be my last.
Amen to that. Mickey came from the New York care and control, animal care and control system. He was in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, yes.
And for those of you who are not familiar with the Brooklyn and Staten Island and Manhattan animal care and control, they are death camps, they're killing fields, they're notorious. Animals generally don't stand a chance. Their time is up very quickly, and there's nothing, there's no extensions, there's no pardons, there's no, when they're on the list, pretty much, they're on the list and that's it.
They don't get a reprieve.
Yeah, there's no buying them any time. Occasionally you see them on the list, but then they're still there, and I don't know if anybody can really explain that.
There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason, according to a volunteer that I know.
Yeah.
She said, you know, some of the best dogs, they don't give any time at all, and some that probably will never be adopted just kind of sit there, so no one knows.
But this is where Mickey came from. And Sue, you used to post, I remember seeing your posts all the time. A lot of people share these dogs because, you know, urgent takes on a new meaning.
Yes.
When you're talking about the dogs there.
Right.
And so you take it from there. Let's tell Mickey's story.
Okay. Well, I discovered the urgent page, I'm guessing, probably about 5 years ago. It was in the fall of 2010, and I just kind of got caught up in it like so many other people do. You see all these dogs every night that are at risk and to be destroyed the following day, and I just really, you know, you want to save them all, but you can't.
No.
And so the best that I could do at the time was just share them on Facebook. And I really was not looking for another dog. I had at the time a senior disabled dog that was not able to walk anymore, and it was almost a full-time job taking care of him.
Oh yeah.
So I just, you know, I didn't feel like I could take on another dog at that time. But then I saw this guy, and just something about him, I felt like I needed to save him. And I networked him, and I tried to get a rescue to take him, and he just, nobody wanted him. So it got to the last night, and he only had a few hours left, and I was having dinner with my boyfriend Matt, and a text came through on my phone that he was on the list to be destroyed the next day. And usually I will not take out my phone at dinner time, but he kind of insisted. He said, you better check, maybe it's one of the kids, maybe it's an emergency. And I quickly put the phone away, and I said, it's nothing. And he said, well, what was it? And I said, well, a dog that I've been trying to help in New York City is going to be killed tomorrow. And without batting an eye, he said to me, I think you should take the dog. And I said, well, I've been thinking about it, but it's just a lot right now. And he kept saying, I think you should take the dog. And I had been contacting rescues for about a week, just hoping that somebody would help him. And it kind of all got twisted around on Facebook saying that Sue Torres wants to adopt this dog. And I really didn't.
Twist it around?
But finally a rescue got back to me and she said that if you want the dog, I can't take him into my rescue, but if you want to adopt him, I'll get him out for you. And at that point there was kind of no going back, so I said yes. And the other problem was that I was going on vacation the following week, so I couldn't really bring him home.
Rescue's never convenient, is it?
No, but she was really helpful. She said, we'll put him in boarding for 2 weeks, and when you get back, we'll get him transported to you. So
And that was certainly,
that's
that
what
was
we did.
awesome, yeah.
That's what we did. And we did, my daughter and I got a chance to meet him before I left, and you know, we fell in love with him right away. And
it seems like Mickey is in love over here.
Yep.
He knows who gave the okay, huh?
This is what he does. But he,
someone's getting a bath over here.
yeah, I don't know if it was the 2 weeks in boarding or whatever, but when he finally did get to me, he was kind of a different dog. He was just really, really scared of everybody and everything. And he kind of bonded with my other dog right away. I think that made him feel safe to have another dog friend in the house.
Well, didn't you say that he was surrendered with another dog?
Yes.
So,
And that was kind of what
It's-
convinced me that he would be okay.
yeah,
'cause
probably just like that comfort of...
Yeah. And he trusted me, but he didn't really want anybody else to come near him. And it took me a long time to just even be able to get him out of the house to take a walk. I would try, and he would just cower down, and he'd look at me like, why do we have to do this? He just wanted to stay in the house.
Poor guy.
And I unfortunately had to crate him most of the time because he just didn't want anyone around him. And I was advised by the rescue to just tell everybody in the house to go about their business and let him see that nobody was going to hurt him. And in time he would learn to trust, and he did. Took a while, but he did. And he's just really changed my life. He's probably the sweetest, most loving dog I've ever had, and I've had some great dogs, but he's very special to me.
Well, he certainly, you know, you saved his life, and I'm sure he knows that. And, you know, rescues aren't always the easiest
Well,
path, and
that's-
every dog isn't just gonna like come into your home and be like, hey, it's cool.
And that's one thing I had to learn, and that's one thing most people don't understand, and that's why a lot of dogs get returned to the shelters. And
Yep.
once they come back, that's probably it for them, because they get a bad name, and it's
Absolutely.
probably not even deserved. They just need time to decompress and settle into their new home.
Oh,
And
absolutely. They have to learn that it's home.
right,
You know, so many people don't get that. You know,
Right.
they want the dog just to like, you know, okay, we're home now, everything's gonna be good, and you're gonna live happily ever after.
right.
And, like you said, he had to learn that nobody was gonna hurt him. He had to understand that this was his place, and it was gonna be okay.
Mhm.
And, you know, that doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah, and we're still working on some things. He's very good with people now. He loves children. I have an elderly mother that I take him to visit when her aide is not there, because her aide doesn't like dogs. But and he kind of knows to be gentle around her. When she doesn't walk much anymore, but when she did walk with her walker, he kind of would go lay down without even telling him. He, you know, could see that she was frail.
Right.
And so I have no issues with him around people. I have no issues with him around other dogs, as long as I bring the dogs into my house.
Right.
He's fine with that. When he sees dogs he doesn't know on the street, especially if they bark at him, he may or may not react to them. So that's something we're still working on. But
Well, you know,
He's-
we're all a work in progress.
yeah,
And certainly, you know, animals are too. And again, people need to understand that.
right. And he's really come so far. I mean, I would say even a year ago I couldn't have even considered bringing him here. It would have been too overwhelming for him. But now you know, I take him to a few pet stores, and he does well even when there are other dogs there. And I've taken him to a lot of parks and beaches, and just try to get him out and get him used to being out of the house and being in new surroundings, because, you know, get him out of his comfort zone a little bit. And
Sure, expand his world.
And he's come a long way.
Well,
Made a lot of progress.
you know, kudos to you for, you know, taking the chance and saving a life and hanging in there. And, you know, so many people give up.
Yeah, well, I feel like I got more than I gave with him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would do it again in a heartbeat. It was a lot of work, but all worth it.
Absolutely. And he's become, you know, without him, would you have written your book?
No.
Without him, would you be the advocate that you are?
No.
And, you know, it's one of those things that just one thing leads to another.
He's opened a lot of doors for me. I've met so many wonderful people, and I've gotten a lot of new opportunities. I don't think I even told you this, but I just joined the board of trustees for Canine Safe at Home.
Oh, good for you. Congratulations.
I am going to be a pit bull advocate for Connecticut dogs.
Nice.
I'm not quite sure what that means right now, but I'll find
You're
out.
about to find out.
Yeah, and
good for you.
Just a lot of fun events that I've gone to, and book signings and travel, and just met so many nice people, and it would never have happened if
there wasn't that one dog that stole your heart on Facebook, right?
Yes.
And, you know, sometimes it's just one event that, like I said, turns into a whole change of life.
And there are just so many dogs still that I see every day that break my heart.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, like I said, even from the beginning, you want to save them all, but you can't.
But you saved one, and look what it's done for your life.
Right.
You know, for anyone who's not familiar, Sue's book is Loyalty Unleashed, Pit Bulls and the People Who Love Them.
Yes.
And it tells everyone's stories in the book of their dogs and how their pit bulls have changed their lives. And I think we were kind of talking about how Mickey's changed a few people. Few people's perception since you've had him.
And that's the best part of all to me.
Absolutely.
I have a friend who has a friend who has been terrified of dogs since she's a little girl, and she's in her 70s now. And
that's a long time to be afraid of dogs.
Yes.
I can't imagine.
When we were over my friend's house, this woman was coming over, and she said to me, "You're going to have to put Mickey in another room because Jessie is terrified of dogs." And I said, "Well, I'll put him in another room, but as soon as she comes in and sits down, I'll just tell her to ignore him and he'll be fine." Well, within 2 minutes, he was trying to climb up in her lap, and she was sitting there laughing, and she was, "Oh, I just got my arm washed, and oh, now he's washing my face." And that's what he does. And she said he just completely changed my mind. So.
And, you know, if you can change one mind.
And there have been a few others. Another woman that I met at a business meeting came in one day, and she said, "Oh, I just met a pit bull puppy, and it was the sweetest dog I've ever met. And until I met you, I wouldn't have even thought about going up to meet this dog because I was afraid of pit bulls."
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, it is.
It's a good feeling.
It's things like that really make it worthwhile.
It does. And so we do have some pictures.
Okay.
We have quite a few pictures that kind of chronicle Mickey's progress and show his life in pictures, so to speak. Zach, can we bring up the first one and I'll cue you when to change them?
Okay, that was the picture on Facebook that I saw that kind of sucked me right in, and I don't know why. I mean, there are cuter dogs that I see, but He just looked like he needed me, and
It's the eyes.
I could not get him out of my mind, and I just kept checking multiple times every day to see if he had been rescued, because back then there weren't quite as many dogs coming through the shelter, and they had a little bit better chance. Now it's just horrible now, but he wasn't going to be one of the lucky ones. He got an evaluation that was less than perfect, and I couldn't really get much information other than they said he was very tense and nervous, and
that's a bad thing for a dog in a place like that.
The tests that they do on them, it's just, I don't even know how any dog can pass that test.
No.
Because it's like you got a stranger that's poking and prodding them and sneaking up from behind on them, and then they give them food and they give them treats, and then they take everything away with a plastic hand.
Yeah.
And I mean, who wouldn't be scared, especially
the smell of death in the place, and
right.
the dogs that are probably just barking, and you know, the sounds and the smells, and
right. So
you know.
he was really scared, and his former owner didn't do him any favors either. By the shelter notes said that he was not friendly. So you know, once they get that reputation, forget it. So,
oh yeah, you're just about condemned and done before you even get started.
Right, right. So that was the picture, the first picture I saw.
Let's go to the next one.
Okay, that one is also in the shelter, and this woman, it was very interesting. I happened to come across an article, I think it was the Huffington Post or one of those online newspapers, and they said these are some of the cutest pictures you will ever see. And this woman is a amateur photographer, and she had 2 pit bulls and a cat, and she's got a big Instagram account, and she posted a lot of pictures of her dogs and her cats snuggling together, very cute, and I just wanted to know more about her, so I sent her an email, and I said, would you want to answer a few questions for me? I'd like to write about you. And she said, sure. And by the way, I totally remember your dog.
Aww.
He was in the Brooklyn shelter, and he came in with another dog, right? And then she sent me this picture. She said this was me trying to get him not to be so scared.
Aww.
So
little connections sometimes that you never know you have.
Right, right. That was a total surprise. But
next one, Zach.
Okay, that was my dog Oscar, and Mickey's first friend when he came here. And Oscar, like I said, was about 14 years old at that point, and he lost the use of his back legs. We had one of those doggy carts for him. Mm-hmm. But Mickey kind of felt safe around him. As you can see, he used to lay on the bed with him, and I think Oscar did the best he could to make him feel welcome.
Aww. See, dogs have a way.
And when Oscar passed away, he really did grieve for him. He was just so sad for about a month.
Yeah, they do grieve.
Yeah, so that was,
Next picture, Zach.
And that is my daughter meeting him for the first time, and that was at the boarding facility before he actually came home. That was 2 days after he left the shelter. And as you can see, when they said he wasn't friendly in the shelter, he's pretty friendly.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Up in her lap.
Yeah.
Next one.
And that was a few days after he came home. That was in our house.
Already looking a little more relaxed and comfortable and coming into his own.
Mm-hmm.
Next one.
Okay, after Oscar passed away, about a month later, my daughter brought home this puppy, that's Maybe, and that became his new best friend.
Aww.
And Maybe has since moved to California with my daughter, but that kind of brought him back a little bit, after he lost one friend, he gained a new one. So that's Maybe.
Next one.
And that's Maybe with him also.
That's so cute.
Yeah, she loved him, and he loved her. I have probably 20 or 30 pictures of them together, but those were 2 that I found.
Next.
That is just, he lets us dress him up. He He's just whatever,
Just,
right.
being a good dog.
Yeah.
Next up.
Okay, that is the first dog that I ever fostered from Red Hook Dog Rescue, and she now lives right by here in Walcott.
Uh-huh.
And I named her Macy. The woman who adopted her named her Maisie, which means pearl. And I'm not sure, the translation of Maisie is pearl. And
He certainly can snuggle and accept other dogs.
He's been wonderful with any dog that I've ever brought in the house.
Next up.
That is another dog that I fostered. That's Buffy. And she was also adopted. She lives in New York City now, and she's got the best life of any dog I know. She goes to the beach, and she goes mountain climbing, and she goes to the park, and I see pictures of her on Facebook all the time.
Does she send Mickey postcards from all these places?
No, but her mom and I stay in touch, and they just adore her.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and she was actually found roaming the streets of New York. She was just a real stray.
Yeah.
And I have no idea. She was skin and bones when I got her, and very, very sweet. But she was a street dog. She needed some work, but very sweet dog, and she's got a great life now. So.
Next up.
Okay, that's a friend that he met. That's my friend's dog, Max, who's a big boy, as you could see. He's almost 100 pounds, but like I said, Mickey he just loves other dogs. He loves people. He just wants to love everybody.
Next.
And those are some of his friends that
Looks like he's having a slumber party.
Yeah. The one on the end is Cam, the brown one. That's my boyfriend Matt's dog, and that's probably his best friend now. And the little white one in the middle is named Mia, and she belongs to my girlfriend, and I dog sit for her when my girlfriend goes away. And the other one on the end is Buddy, who belongs to another friend, and I was dog sitting two of them at the same time.
Definitely a slumber party.
Yes.
Next.
And that's Mickey and Cam, his best friend, on a hike.
Next.
And they've known each other since the day Mickey came home. So
they're tight. That's good.
Yeah, and then again, that's him letting me dress him up.
That almost looks like, The Nightmare Before Christmas, Zero.
Yeah.
The way he was like all floaty looking. That's so funny. Next up.
And
what a happy picture.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. That's about 14 months after I got him. You saw the first picture, the shelter picture, where he looked so sad, and this is...
That's that great pity smile.
Yeah, that's him playing with what used to be a basketball.
Yeah, used to be, right?
Yes.
Next one.
And that's the woman that I mentioned before, Jessie. That's him meeting her, the woman that was so afraid, deathly afraid of dogs. That's Mickey with Jessie, and as you can see, she's not minding at all.
No, not at all. And I think we've got just a few more.
And
spoiled and happy.
Yeah, this is kind of what he does best. He sleeps, and that's on what used to be my good couch. He's kind of rearranged the pillows and squished them down to his liking and built a little fort for himself there. So
operative word used to be the good couch.
Yes.
Next.
And that's him sleeping also. That's what he does most of the time. He's not a real energetic guy.
He doesn't have to be, right?
No.
How old do we say he is?
He's probably pushing 7 now, 6 and a half, 7.
So he's that nice middle age where it's mellow now.
Yeah.
And I think one more, Zach.
And
there's the happy sleepy face.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's Mickey. And
in words and pictures.
In words and pictures.
We'll take the camera back, Zach. Mickey, do you want to greet your audience one last time?
Come here, baby. Come here. Come on. Come here.
And come over. Mommy give you a treat or something?
Oh, sure.
Make it worth your while?
You sit.
What a good boy.
Good boy. All right, what do we got for you?
What a good boy. See, Mommy made it worth you getting up.
he's really a good boy. I mean, he has no food guarding issues. He never destroyed anything. He, like I said, he's mentored foster dogs, puppies. He's wonderful with children, adults.
He's come a long way from Brooklyn.
Yeah, he's a little, nervous in new places, but once he sees that it's fine, he just kind of lays down and takes it all in.
And it's a beautiful thing to see a dog come that far when he was hours away from being killed.
Yes.
And really it was just hours, and here he is.
It was very few hours, because
Yeah.
back then they used to start at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I didn't get the email that he was going to be rescued until probably 1 a.m.
Yeah, so
And-
really that's just a very few hours.
And she told me, she said, I put a hold on him, don't worry, if my name's on him, you don't have to worry, but still, until I
Yeah,
knew that he
until,
was out of
right.
the shelter, because they do make mistakes there.
Oh, well, mistakes and on purposes, and
Yeah.
we
Right.
won't even go there. I mean, how many times in a shelter does a dog have a way out, and
I know.
somebody just
I know.
doesn't care,
Yep.
regardless. But Sue, it was really nice to meet Mickey after hearing about him for so long, and I felt like I knew him. And
Well, now you do.
now I do. I absolutely do. He's doing hand signals over there. And I thank you, as always,
Oh, thank
for
you.
coming on.
Thank
It's always
you.
a pleasure to hang out and spend
Oh,
time with you.
Absolutely is. I look forward to doing it again, if you'll have me.
Absolutely. I think we have a reason coming up soon to get
Yeah.
together again in this
We
kind
do.
of forum.
I'm working on an ebook, sort of a sequel to the first book. It has a lot of pictures that I was not able to include in the first book. It has some updates on the dogs that were in the first book, where are they now, a lot of new stories, hero dogs. It's really something I'm very proud of.
Well,
So,
that's awesome. So we will talk about that soon.
okay.
Now we're going to say peace,
Peace,
love,
love,
and dogs.
dogs.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.